No elderly couple is now left heartbroken after they say they were kicked out of the place they called home for decades.
And Fox 26 News reporter Myra Franco explains who was behind it, who they say was behind it, and why the couple says it all happened behind closed doors. Myra?
Well, as Monty, the couple tells me they got hit with a surprise, an eviction notice, something they say they never saw coming or could imagine, even since the owner of the house was their son.
Imagine paying for your home every single month for more than 20 years, only to answer a knock at the door and be handed a piece of paper telling you to get out. And the person behind that eviction notice is your own son. And if that does not stop you cold for a second, I do not know what will. Because this is not a story about strangers running a scam from overseas. This is not about fake contractors or lottery fraud. This is something far worse and far closer to home. And if you are watching this channel because you care about protecting the people you love, then hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Because stories like this one are exactly why we are here, and we need to talk about what happened to Ismael and Angelita Ramirez, an elderly couple from Fresno, California, who did everything right and still lost everything they had. And I want you to hear something that Angelita herself said about this situation. She said they wanted to be on the title. They wanted their names on that document. And that detail matters more than you might realize, because what we are about to uncover is a 2-decade trap built on a single piece of paperwork and a betrayal so deep that the family still cannot fully process it. And here is the theme that runs through every case, like this one. Scammers do not always come from the outside. Sometimes the most dangerous person is the one who grew up inside your house, the one you trusted, the one you never thought you would need to protect yourself from. And that is what makes elder exploitation by family members so devastating, because by the time you realize what has happened, the damage is already done, and the legal system is not built to help you recover from it. So let us build the timeline together and understand exactly how this happened, step by step.
Videos circulating online sharing Ismael and Angelita Ramirez's story from Fresno have blown up. They are now displaced and are having to start fresh after they say they were served with an eviction notice in April for the home they have been making payments on for more than 20 years.
Cada mes estábamos pagando 700.
Y que les llegara esa carta de sorpresa, de repente que llegó, ¿qué pensaron en ese momento?
Pues pensamos que el muchacho, porque él los había hecho eso, si él sabía realmente que la casa de nosotros la estábamos.
Because the fault line in this story was created all the way back in 2003, more than 20 years ago, when Ismael and Angelita were in the process of buying their Fresno home, and they are a Spanish-speaking couple with limited English. And by every account, they were people who did things the right way. They found a home. They committed to it. They were ready to make their payments month after month for as long as it took. And they wanted their names on the title. Angelita has said this directly, but according to the couple, a person who was helping them with the transaction reportedly told their son that he did not need to include his parents on the title, and the details of exactly what was communicated to whom and why are not fully confirmed in public reporting.
The person helping them told their son he didn't have to include his parents on the title. The parents say they wanted to be on it, but
Él dijo que le habían dicho que no era necesario. Y pues como uno no sabe inglés, pues ahí los engañaron y
English was a barrier for the couple, and it is unclear from available information precisely what was explained to them or what was withheld. But what is absolutely clear is that when the dust settled on that 2003 transaction, Ismael and Angelita's names were not on the title, their son's name was, and that one decision a single line left off a document would define the next 2 decades of their lives, because here is what happened. After that, they kept paying for more than 20 years. Ismael and Angelita made payments on this house month after month, year after year. They built their lives there. They treated it as theirs, because in every way that felt real to them, it was theirs. This was the home they planned to grow old in. This was supposed to be their forever place, but legally, and this is where it gets painful, it was never theirs. The title said something different. And in property law, the title is the story that counts. And the couple had no idea that a trap had been set 2 decades earlier that would eventually spring shut on them in the worst possible way. Now before April of this year, and the exact timeline here is not fully confirmed in public reporting, the son was reportedly still living in the home family. Members describe him as a working man employed doing fine by all visible measures. There were no warning signs that anyone in the family picked up on, nothing that suggested what was coming, no red flags, no strange behavior, no indication that anything was wrong. And then at some point, records indicate the son transferred the property to an unidentified woman.
They also say they never imagined their son would do this to them. The eviction notice stated the owner of the house was kicking them out and selling the property. They say they later learned that their son had transferred the property to a woman who served the notice. They say they have tried to get legal assistance, but they feel helpless because as soon as lawyers hear the property was in their son's name, they refuse to take the case.
Y los dejaron ya sin nada. Pues al momento sentimos que el mundo se los callaba encima. Y luego como está uno que no puede caminar uno porque está mal de los pies. Y luego esta señora también, pues todo se le junta, la depresión y la alta presión y de todo.
Whether that transfer was a sale, a gift, or some other arrangement is not publicly confirmed. What is confirmed is that the parents had no knowledge of it. There was no conversation, no warning, no goodbye, no chance to object or ask questions or understand what was happening to their home. And the first time Ismael and Angelita found out that anything had changed about the home they had spent 20 years paying for was when someone knocked on their door. And that was not even the worst part. That knock came in April, and it came in the form of an eviction notice. The notice named the new owner the woman the son had transferred the property to as the party demanding they vacate, and according to the couple, they never saw it coming. They could never have imagined it. The owner of the house was kicking them out, and the owner of the house, it turned out, was no longer even their son. He had already handed it off 20 years of payments, and now they had a legal document telling them to leave their own home.
Income. They can't buy a new house in this housing market, or worse yet, even afford rent. They are now staying with their daughter, who is helping them navigate the situation.
And when they started making calls to fight back, they ran into a wall that no one had prepared them for. The couple sought legal assistance. They reached out to multiple attorneys, and by all accounts, those attorneys declined to take the case. And the reason is as cold as it is. Clarifying once lawyers heard that the title had been in the son's name throughout the case became extremely difficult to pursue. The system sees a clean title transfer. California title law on its face reflects a transaction that was legally executed. The couple sees 20 years of payments and a betrayal so deep it is hard to put into words. But the paperwork does not record that emotional reality, no fraud on paper that attorneys were willing to litigate, no crime easy enough to prosecute, that anyone stepped forward to take it on just 2 elderly people living on Social Security income with nowhere to go. And the cruelest part of this whole situation is that the system that is supposed to protect people like Ismael and Angelita is not built for this. It is built for paperwork, and the paperwork said their son owned it, and then the paperwork said he transferred it to someone else. And that was that? And then the situation added another layer entirely because the son has not been heard from. As of the time of reporting, the family had not spoken to him in nearly 5 months. Their last contact was reportedly in April, around the time the eviction notice was served, when he said he was feeling ill and was being taken care of. The second son told Fox 26 that the family has tried to reach his brother and has asked police to conduct welfare checks, but no confirmed criminal investigation, no arrest, and no charges have been reported in available public records. The whereabouts and condition of the son remain unclear. So now this is not just a property dispute anymore. It is a missing person situation layered on top of it. And the family is left not knowing whether the man at the center of all of this is a predator who walked away with their home, or someone who may himself be in trouble, or somehow both. And that question, as of available reporting, has no answer. What does have an answer in the most painful way imaginable is where Ismael and Angelita ended up. They are now staying with their daughter, who is helping them navigate what remains of their options on Social Security income alone. They cannot purchase a new home in the current Fresno housing market and reportedly cannot afford rent independently. Either after more than 20 years of payments, they are starting over with nothing. The home they paid for month after month, the home they plan to die in, now sits in someone else's name, and they have no legal path to get it back. Sometimes it comes from across the dinner table, and that is not something any of us want to believe, but it is the truth. And the truth is what we deal in here. So that is where this story ends for now. 20 years of payments, one line left off, a form, and a knock at the door that Ismael and Angelita Ramirez will never forget. Two people who did everything right, who trusted the wrong person, and who lost everything. As a result, protect the seniors in your life. Have the hard conversations. Make sure the paperwork is right, and never assume that family loyalty will protect you from legal reality, because as this case proves, it will not. This has been another investigation into the scams and betrayals that target the most vulnerable among us. Stay safe, stay informed, and I will see you in the next one.